What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker, and welcome to the first playthrough of historical board gaming's The Korean War. This is the end. We are just finished up turn one, so let's take a look. So because the rules are not, it doesn't seem like the rules are entirely complete with this game. So, like, one of the things in the rules that says is that no units can move unless they have supply tokens, as indicated, like, up there. Nothing happened turn one because no side starts with any supply tokens, so no one could move this turn. So that is definitely something that will have to be changed. Something that I plan to do in doing like an updated kind of doing like my own updated rules for this game is that at least having areas starting with supplies. So for our purposes in this game, basically turn one was just spent with everyone doing purchases. China is definitely an interesting one because China's not at war, and just kind of figuring that China, with having 35 IPC, that just gives them too much to where they could just be stacking for multiple turns until the Allies actually take Pyongyang. Because one of the things about this game is that there is no blitzing, so units can only move one space at a time. So it could be a slog for the Allies to get to Pyongyang, and by that time, like, you could have like Super China up here with just dozens and dozens and dozens of infantry and artillery and stuff like that. So what we are going to do with China is that every 2 turns, China can spend their 35 IPC on stuff. And so, yeah, like I said, there was no movement turn one because no one has supplies. I mean, the navies probably could have moved, but right now and that's the other thing. So Airsoft Commando is going to be the communists. I'm playing as the Allies, and right now I just didn't really see a reason to move really any of my... Well, I probably should have moved at least the Allied fighters out of here and probably get them up into Korea somewhere. But that was a mistake for myself. But that is something that I can look at later. So we'll go into purchases. So for the North Koreans, for turn one, the North Koreans had 28 to spend. Airsoft Commando purchased 15 sets of supply tokens and 3 mech. And he saved 1, and when he deployed, he put most of the supplies here in Pyongyang while also putting a supply token up here in Sinuji, I think is what that's called. One thing with supplies, at least for North Korea and South Korea, is that when supplies comes into the game, they can come in either at the capitals or the territories that have their rondels, which, I mean, even for South Korea, that's just Seoul and Busan. So there was that. South Korea. And so just for this turn, we collected income at the end of the turn. For the rest of the game, you actually collect income at the beginning of your next turn, which is going to be a little bit interesting. But so those at the end of this turn, North Korea collected 28 plus 1 that they saved, so they collected 29. Like I said, China, they can't purchase this turn; they'll purchase next turn. Coming down to South Korea now. Let me get that placed a little bit. South Korea had 30 to spend. They bought 4 supply tokens, 2 mech, and 6 infantry. So I didn't get to paint it yet, but these blue half tracks are going to be the South Korean mech units. The other blue mechanized infantry that I have for the UN forces are actually American deuce and a half trucks. So there will be a distinction there. So in Seoul, the South Koreans put down a mech, 2 supplies, and then 6 infantry. While down in Busan, they just put down a mech and 2 supplies. And then at the end of the turn, South Korea collected 30 IPC. All right, over to the Americans. So this is also kind of an interesting thing for how the U.S. and the UN get their forces to Korea, is they buy their units, put them on this space for the supply track, and then every turn on the non-combat they get shifted to one space, whereas aircraft can go 2 spaces. So it's going to be a slog for the Allies to get their reinforcements to Korea, which I'm not sure about that. That might have to be something that might have to change too. But, okay, so for the U.S. had 50 IPC to spend. They bought 2 infantry to reinforce the 25th Infantry Division at Pusan. They bought 2 tanks of the 1st Armored Division, getting some armor, trying to get armor to Korea. Oh, I guess I made that out of focus. I apologize. So 1st Armored Division is heading for Korea. They bought 2 transports because you have to move. In order to move forces forward on this, you have to have a transport in order to do it. So 2 transports to cover the 4 units, and then the U.S. also bought 2 fighters and saved 1. So then at the end of the turn, the U.S. collected 50 IPC plus the 1 that they saved. Moving on to the UN. The UN had 20 IPC to spend. They ended up purchasing just a mech, or not a mech. They bought an infantry, a tank, and a transport, and saved. Well, wait, hold on. 20, 17, 11. Yeah, they saved 4 IPC. So then at the end of the turn, the UN collected 20 IPC plus the 4 they saved. So the UN will have 24 for next turn. All right, so that is it for turn 1. Like I said, this game seems to start off really slow, but I guess we'll just have to see how things go, because even then, starting on turn 2, the North Koreans will just be getting their supplies to the front lines. So really, North Korea can't really even begin their attacks until turn 3, at least by what I'm reading from the rules. If anyone out there has ever tried this game before and it actually is something else, please let me know in the comments, because if it is the case that like they all need supplies before they attack, like the North Koreans not attacking until turn 3 is not very ideal. So if anyone knows different, I would love to hear from you. But like I said, that's it for turn 1, and we will see you guys next time for turn 2. So until then, guys, as always, take care.